really think the rod's too long by about an inch. I'm thinking if I could take a ½ inch off either side, that should give me still plenty of thread for adjustment, and it will also allow me to bring the back of them wheels in so we can get that toe in adjustment. Hello everyone, and welcome back to my shop. Today we're going to get back on this 1949 GMC and the tie rod repair I started a vlog ago, or in a previous vlog. To bring you up to date, I experienced some front end wobble problems with the wheels at all speeds. And I've been going through a progression of repairs since then. New kingpins, new kingpin bushings, repairing the spindles. Now I want to replace the bent tie rod that's on this. And I've run into troubles trying to get a new tie rod to work with the old ends. So I've got new ends I'm going to put on, and I've run into troubles with that. So stay tuned, let's get busy and get this ciphered out. Alright, we're back under this thing again. We're going to take this brand new tie rod off. Shouldn't take much. I already see where this cup's split. Huh. Isn't that something? Okay, we're going to have to... You know, there must be some kind of a taper because it's staying locked on there. There we go. Didn't want to use a pickle fork, but that boot's already split, isn't that something? All right. Alright, I've got the tie rods lying side by side now, and I'll show you the dilemma I'm running into. Alright, first off, keep in mind this repaired original tie rod had too much, I believe has too much toe in. So that means these ends have to go in, have to come together more, like, you know, where we go, have to come together. Alright? In order to bring the rear of the wheels in, that'll spread the front part of the wheels out and get less toe in. I believe I've got too much toe in. So with that said, what I'm doing is I put the cut off balls back in the ends, and I've got them snugged into their original position. All right, so here is the new tie rod end. Now keep in mind, even though there's some thread showing here, there's a little over 1/4 inch. This is ran all the way up because the tie rod is bottoming out right here. So I've got it aligned pretty close to exactly where this one is. You know, I can, okay, that's about exact. All right, we go down here to the other end. All right, and you can see where this end is actually out further than the old end. All right, so that means that would put too much toe in if on this new tie rod. Now this end is also run all the way in, so it cannot go in anymore, so it cannot move this end that way, and that's what it needs to do. All right, now if you notice, I've got a little over 1/4 inch of thread here. I've counted it out. There's 5 threads sticking out at this end, and there's 4 sticking out at this end. All right, you look up here, there's quite a few. There's 3/4 to a full inch of thread left on this end, and the same on that. All right, so what I'm contemplating to do is I'm going to take these new ends off. I'm going to cut this rod down at each end by 1/4 inch. All right, and that would give me a total of a 1/2 inch, which I hope will be enough to give me the toe end that I'm going to need. If not, I'm going to have to find a machine shop, I guess, that'll run more threads on this thing. But presently, the rod is too long, and I'll show you that momentarily. Right here, I'm going to show you just the tie rod itself. Now, the old tie rod stops right here, okay, right there. And you look, and you can see how much further out this is, all right? And he stops, and then you look at the thread here, how it stops right here, all right? We'll go down to the other end. Same. Of course, I showed this in a previous video. This is just pretty much just a refresher, just to show you. Now you see the thread stops here, all right, and there's still more thread all the way to here on the old one. So you got the old one stopping there, the new one stopping here, and then the rod's too long. So that's why this rod will not work with these old ends. That's why I cut them off and I went to these new ends. All right, in order to get that lined up, hold on. All right, just using the old eyeball to align this ball with this end here. You can see the thread is right at the end of the thread on the tie rod. And it is threaded all the way to the end of this end, okay? So, there's maybe 1 thread left. And you can see here is the same. To align this with that ball, it's at the end and there's threads there. Now, here's the problem. Is that it still would need to come in more. Maybe just a turn or 2, not much. You know, this is fine thread, so let's say they got to come in this far, all right, just a hair. And we'll come down this way. Of course, it's all eyeball. All right, this puts it, dangerously close to running out of thread. See here? So, that's the problem I'm looking at. Now, I'm going to go ahead and sacrifice. I've made the tactical decision. I'm going to go ahead and sacrifice this tie rod right here. I called the aftermarket provider, and I don't want to give them down the road. Where would we be in this hobby if we couldn't get spare parts, right? We'd be really up the creek, because unfortunately people has over the decades have junked these old trucks. They haven't and junkyards that has these are few and far in between. I can't even find any junkyard parts for these old trucks here locally. I can't even find them in the state. There may be something, but so anyway, I guess what I'm saying is, unless you find somebody that's junking a truck that has a good tie rod, or you can find something out west. You're not going to find an OEM tie rod. You're going to have to deal with aftermarket. And if you know anything about dealing with aftermarket, you're going to have to, more than likely, you're going to have to modify it to work for you. I mean, that's just the nature of the beast called this hobby. So anyway, worst comes to worst, I will have to find someone that will run this thread. And unfortunately, since one of them is a reverse thread, that I don't even have I've got a tap and die set, but I don't have anything big enough to do that. So that's what we're looking at. Now, I did call the aftermarket provider back, and according to them, this is an 1/8 inch longer than what they spec, and which this is 43 3/4. It should, I'm sorry, this is 43 7/8, and it should be 43 3/4. But anyway, they said, well, they've sold 200 of these. They've never had one come back, and that an 1/8 inch shouldn't affect me any. Well, it's more than an 1/8 inch as far as the problem I'm having, and it is affecting me. But I'm not, like I say, I'm not going to give them down. I'm not going to give the name nor give them down the road, because I bought many other parts from them that bolted straight up and is working fine for 5, 6, and 7 years. So anyway, I'm going to have to modify it, is what I'm getting to. Now, the problem I'm looking at is when I cut off, I'm thinking about 1/4 inch at each end. I may go a little bit more, but is being able to start these threads back on, because I have no die to clean it up to get it there. So I may end up having to use files and everything to get it to where I can start them back. So anyway, let me cipher and I'll see how much I'm going to cut off. Alright, I've made the tactical decision, 1/2 inch off both sides. But here we go. Is it real or is it Memorex? And for the test. Cool. Going on. There he is. He's run out of thread. He's bottomed out. Okay, I'll show you that here. Alright, there he goes. Alright. We'll back him up a thread or two. Alright. On to the next one. Alright. Well, my main concern was that they wouldn't start. I guess I was overly concerned. There we go. It actually goes past it. That's good. That's really good. It'll actually go past the threads till it stops right there. Alright. Might could have taken a little bit more off that end. Alright. Now let's lay these side by side and see what it looks like. got him lined up pretty much with the ball. Okay, got some thread left. Go down here. He's bottomed out, and he is just inside the ball, so he can actually go out. He can't come in anymore, but he can. I may back him off and put him down. All right, let's do that. All right, I got him lined up good. Got a couple threads left to where he can go in. Got him lined up good. Got a couple more threads where he can go in some more. So I think that's a good starting point. So perhaps I was unduly sweating something out. But anyway, let's bolt this dude up and see what we get. All right, I didn't want to bore you putting the other side on, but I'm showing this just so I show where I'm putting the tie rod on the top and with the nut on the bottom, and that puts it about level with the straight axle. You know, the way these fit, there must be a slight taper in there. There's no torque spec, so I'm going tight, and then enough to get that cotter key lined up, which I think goes this way. Okay, I've got the tie rod installed. I do not have the cotter pin set, and I've done my hillbilly alignment, and I still think I've got too much toe in, but this isn't exact, and I believe what I'm going to do is take it to talk to a front end alignment shop that I used on the Chevy and see what they've got to say. I don't want to cut any more off unless I have to, and I don't know how accurate this is really telling me. So I'm going to talk to them first and go from there. But I have reduced the toe in from what it was in because I've run both side ends in all the way, which puts them closer together than what that OEM one was set at originally. So, and I've got brand new tires in the back right here that'll go on once this once I get that tire rod situated. And oh yeah, the big cassette tape me and my brother's been working on for the VBS week that's coming up here in a week or so. Well, that's it. Does it look like a cassette tape? I hope it does. I don't know what they're going to write on all that up there, but that's up to them. Anyway, so that's where we're at right now. I'm going to cipher some more to see if I want to cut any more off or see what the front end alignment professional has to say. But anyway, I'll be back. All right, we're headed to the front end alignment shop. Let's see if they can't get this thing trued up for me. Anyway, beautiful morning. Good day for a nice cool cruise in the town. Let's do it. All right, I'm back from the front end alignment shop. They could not adjust the toe in because of the problem with the new rod. So I'll point it out to you and show you. I've gone ahead and pulled the ends off the old rod, and I've got a measuring tape, and when I measure it out, it looks like the old rod is 41 3/4 inches right here. Okay, now when I measure the new rod, I put the ends on that I cut off so I can get a more accurate reading. So there's the cutoff end right there, you see, okay, which is a little over 1/2 inch. We come all the way down and it comes up to actually 43 3/4. I'm going to guess that by cutting the ends off like I did, that took off a 1/16 on each end because I previously came up with 43 7/8. So anyway, I got a difference of 2 inches, and the main thing they pointed out to me is here, see where the threads stop on the new rod, and you see on the old rod they run all the way down here. There's a good inch more of thread on each end. And they recommend I find a machine shop to cut, you know, at least 1 inch to 1.5 inches more to be safe of thread on it and to cut the rod off. I'm going to cut the rod off myself. All right, I'm laid out. In the end, I've taken the cut ends off, and I come up to this end here. And I come up with about 1 inch difference in the length. Just 7/8 to 1 inch difference in the total length. So basically, with these measurements here are jiving with what I'm coming up with. This brand new rod was 2 inches too long, and the threads are 1 inch short on each end. Now, this GMC, I don't know if there's a difference between Chevy and GMC. I would kind of think there wouldn't be. And again, this GMC has been modified by I don't know how many previous owners. So it's possible that that aftermarket provider is correct, and this new rod would fit the majority of these AD trucks without any problem. I'm posting this to let you all know what I'm running into, and you may run into it too should you have to replace your tie rod. So anyway, looks like I'm going to end up cutting off 1 inch off both ends in order to get it to match up lengthwise with the old tie rod, and then we'll see what we can do about getting some threads cut into it. Alright, I've decided to give it one more try myself, and I've made up this homemade. I copied the fancy brace they were using there at that front end shop, and I don't know if you can see the video. I'll try to see if I can. It's just hard to get it in here to see. But anyway, the tip is just outside the tire, the tread on the tire, and hopefully this is getting it. It's about a 1/16 of an inch to maybe 1/8, but I'm gonna call it a 1/16 of an inch from going into the tread, and down there at the other end it is hooked in the tread. All right, so well, the key thing to remember is it will not go in the tread. It's lacking about a 1/16 of an inch from going in. All right, I'll show you the other back side. This is the front side. All right, this is going to be hard to see. We're on the back side, but you can see my pointer goes in. All right, goes into the tread. All right, and it's touching, and it's hooked down at the other end. You probably can't tell because of the light. All right, so that's telling me I've got probably close to a 1/16 of an inch toe in, and I was I mean I was between a 1/2 inch to 3/4 of an inch towed in when I took it to him this morning. So I'll explain a little bit more once I get up. Well, all right, I believe I've got this toe in done here at the shop without having to take it back to the front end alignment shop. I kind of copied the guy. I seen what he was using to measure from tread to tread. He was going from the second tread in to the second tread in on the other front tire, and I seen what he was using to do that, and he determined I had over 1 inch of toe in selected. So I just made up this. I used some spare material I had, and I put a little toggle here so I can adjust it, and made up my own. And from that second tread to the second tread on the tires, it's about 57 1/4 inches. But the whole board here is probably 7 foot, I guess, maybe 6 foot. So if you were to, one of you all or some of you all were to make up your own, this would be kind of the basic dimensions. And what I do is I go from the tread wall to the tread wall. That way I could hook it, you know, on the far tire and get it to stay, and then I could measure it down at this end by what went in. I roughly have about a 1/16 of an inch total toe in, so that would be maybe a 32nd of an inch on each side. So we'll see how that does. I would take it out and on the test drive and get them new tires mounted, but they pointed out something on the rear spring, so I'm going to check that out too. But I'm not going to do that on this segment or today, as a matter of fact. So it's going to stay here in the service stall for just a little while. And here's the pieces I cut off the ends. So that brand new tie rod that I ordered from the aftermarket provider was 2 inches too long. So I cut off 1 inch at each side. And actually, again, I don't know if it's something with this GMC here. You know, this has been highly modified by a whole lot of different people. And it's hard to say what's been what and what parts are on it. But in my case, that tie rod was 2 inches too long, and really, if it wasn't down to just one thread left, I would have gotten new threads cut on that thing too. But I was able to get it to where I need it to be without having to do that. So anyway, the aftermarket, as you can tell, has to be modified. All right, I believe it's time to stick a fork in this project. In this part 2, which is the finish. The repair of this front end, I believe, is done. I'll know more once I take it out on a test run, but we'll do that in another segment. Right now, I got some other things I got to check on it before I take it back out. The front end alignment shop, it really wasn't that big of a waste of time because he did a real good inspection. Everything I've done to this point is good. He found something back here I need to address on that right rear spring. And way back when I first got this truck, I found the guy that had a bunch of spare parts, and I made some trades, and I got a whole set of springs. Matter of fact, I already put the front ones in this one. Looks like I may be putting the back in it too. We'll see. I'll just see what all I need to do once I get that shaft on. Like I say, that'll be in another segment. Again, I believe we're good. It just so happened that I had just enough thread on that tie rod after I cut it down 2 inches, 1/8 inch on both sides, and got them new ends on there. It was just enough thread to get that in there and get it adjusted out using that new homemade adjuster, which I copied from that front end shop. Of course, theirs was a whole lot better, and it had, you know, scales and all kinds of good stuff on it. But basically, my tape, measuring tape, and that did the job for me. But anyway, I hope everything's going good with you and yours. Going good here. Won't complain if it did. We'll just address it and take care of the business if we had to. So anyway, hope to see you around on the next one. And there will be a next one.